See, are we good? All right, looks like it. All right, cool. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, thank you so much for tuning in with me. For those of you that don't know, my name is Will Johnson. My website is uniteamericafirst.com. Please go there, support me. Please support me in the time of need. You have to bear with me. I have some sinus stuff going on, and I have my box of clinics here to try to deal with a lot of it. But we're gonna try to keep moving forward here. So please bear with me. I know some people, well, I can't take it. I can't stand it. But anyways, okay, enough about me. Let's go on. I want to share some stuff with you that I guarantee that nobody else is talking about this. There's one particular thing. We're talking about it, some of it, but they're not talking about it all together. And what am I talking about? I'm referring to this whole thing with the FTX. Y'all have heard of that? The FTX, the whole cryptocurrency company that people poured millions and millions of dollars into it, and then it became a multi-billion-dollar company, multi-billions. And then all of a sudden, and it's gone. Just billions of dollars gone. And I think one of the main reasons why a lot of people are talking about this, because one of the owners of the FTX, or I guess the main guy, Sigmund Fraud, how a lot of people call him, he doesn't know where it is. It's like he's just kind of like the money's just gone. Billions of dollars. And he was going to invest $1 billion to the Democrat Party for 2024. He was going to invest $1 billion. He already said it, that, 2024, he's going to invest $1 billion. But guess what? All of those billions are gone. He actually, sent money to Maxine Waters. He sent money to multiple Democrats, through the time, multiple Democrats. And he's been arrested now. And what's interesting to me is that the original reason, to my understanding, the reason why he didn't want to show up for the hearings, because he was too busy. He was too busy to catch a flight to come back to the United States of America to, answer the questions. What happened to the billions of dollars? Now, with that said, I think it's very possible that he might not even make it. If anything, they might put, he's been arrested, so they probably put him on a plane, but I don't know. He may have an accident between there from the Bahamas to the United States of America. I don't know, but weird things have happened in the past, and I wouldn't put it past them, because they're going to ask, where'd all the money go? Well, you remember Jeffrey Epstein? So Jeffrey Epstein, apparently he suicided himself, and this was even over billions and billions and billions of dollars. This was over a list of people that possibly made a visit to Epstein Island. But in this case, there's so many people connected with this dude that is really interesting. So let me share this video with you. This is from Jesse Waters. Listen to what he says in this one. And he has a young lady on there, and they're kind of talking back and forth. And I love the fact that Jesse Waters calls him Mini Murdoch. And it's actually worse than Murdoch. It's actually a lot worse. But after this video, I'm going to show you something that I'm more than likely guaranteed that you have not seen. No one is, after I show you this video, no one has seen this information that I'm going to show to you next. But listen to this with Jesse Waters first.
And Mini Madoff-Fried is not free. He's finally in cuffs after officials in the Bahamas went over and arrested the scam artist who stole billions of dollars and spent a lot of it on sex parties, drugs, and on electing Democrats in the Senate. The Attorney General of the Bahamas say the arrest came after the receipt of a formal notification for the United States that we'd filed criminal charges against him. Finally, officials in the Bahamas say they expect Mini to be extradited back to the United States soon. And this is coming just after Mini Madoff earlier today said he was too overbooked to fly back to the United States and testify in person at tomorrow's congressional hearing. To our friend Maxine Waters, no relation. Mini said he was worried about the paparazzi, but now he's behind bars in the Bahamas, if that counts. Let's turn it over to New York Post reporter Lydia Moynihan. So, Lydia, on the eve of him spilling his guts to Mad Maxine Waters under oath, we got popped in the Bahamas. Perfect timing.
Are there coincidences? No. Maybe not. I think regulators felt like they were being taunted because he was going on this media tour. He was speaking with one person on Twitter for an hour, and then he had a Forbes interview. And he was painting this narrative of this sort of, aw, shucks, I'm doing my best. I just don't know what happened. I want to be helpful, but I just don't know where the money went. And
he was on TV more than Fauci, I think.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, yeah, so I think people were really tired of this narrative. Tomorrow was going to be the first day that he would go under oath, potentially perjure himself. It's unclear what would have happened. But the reality is, like, all of these interviews, all of this testimony that he was doing, there's basically two possibilities. Either he's innocent and an idiot, in which case he is not going to enlighten us on anything, or he's a psychopath and a liar, and he's not going to tell us where the money went. In either case, it's not helpful. So, we want a little less conversation, a little more jail.
So he threw millions at Biden, got the Democrats elected in the Senate, and then everything blew up and Biden had him arrested before he could talk.
Maybe that, you know what, that...
You know what? Y'all hear him, right? It's like, I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if something happens to him from point A to point B. I'm not calling for it. I hope nothing happens. I hope he comes and we get to hear what he has to say. I want to hear what he has to say. I want him to tell us where the money went. But you hear Jesse Waters, like, all of a sudden he has to arrest him because this is huge. Billions of dollars.
It's fair. That is fair.
Just shut up and I'm going to keep the money. Keep the money, keep the Senate. Now shut up and don't talk.
That seems to be what happened.
That seems to be.
Yeah.
What's a Bahama jail look like? Do they have palm trees?
Well, I don't think he's going to stay in the Bahamas. No. I think he's going to be extradited.
How do you think Minnie's going to do in prison in the United States?
Oh, that will be very interesting. Maybe better than Epstein. I don't know. Last time I was here, I was critical of Minnie Madoff as a name for Sam Bankman-Fried, but I promise.
Okay, so y'all heard that. Now, let me show you something that I guarantee that you probably have not seen. Now, and it'd be very rare if you did. This right here. Have you seen this? This is from a PlayStation game. Can you make it out up there? Can you make it out? This is the FTX Arena. Now, someone was playing a PlayStation game, and this is the NBA game on PlayStation. And I'm sitting there, someone was playing the game, and I looked, and it caught my eye, FTX Arena. I'm like thinking to myself, like, what is this? This is on the Miami Heat's court, FTX Arena. And I'm looking, and I'm like, that can't be that. I mean, this is just a computer game, right? A PlayStation game. It can't be the real deal. But actually, there is an arena called FTX. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's just a coincidence that it's just FTX and it's not, associated with the FTX cryptocurrency company, right? I mean, because people have similar names in FTX, it could be similar names. It could just be, different meaning, same letters. Well, of course, I had to go look it up, and I encourage everybody to go look it up. Let me put this up on the screen for you. This is what I found, and this is on the FTX Arena's website. I encourage every single person that's watching this right now to go verify what Will Johnson's saying. Now, they may remove it before the end of this broadcast. Maybe someone might send them a note and saying, hey, it's on there. But this is what it currently says on the About page on the FTX Arena website. FTX.US is a young, exciting cryptocurrency exchange that continues to grow at lightning speed. The company seeks to offer U.S. traders a platform that inspires their loyalty, as well as expand access to a new generation of financial tools and services to people around the U.S. and across the world. This is on their website right now. Now, one of the main reasons why I'm talking about this, because I don't know if y'all saw the commercials with, I know they had Warriors, what's his name? I can't even believe, you know what, this code has got me all jacked up. But Kim Kardashian, to my understanding, she was pushing FTX, and the Warriors, members on the Warriors team was pushing FTX, and there are actually lawsuits against these people, these high-profile people that was pushing all of this. They were pushing the FTX and asking people to buy in FTX. Steph Curry. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. I got my box of Clint. I got this head coat going on. But anyways, Steph Curry and a whole bunch of people that are high-profile people are getting sued currently. They're getting sued because they were telling people to buy into which appears to be a Ponzi scheme. Now, my question is Miami Heat plays at FTX Arena. And all these people have lost their money, but to my understanding, they're still doing games at the FTX Arena. Why wouldn't they change the name of the FTX Arena to something else? Why do they still, is it still on the basketball court? It's in the PlayStation game today. And another question I have is, how come no one else is reporting on this? How come no one else is talking about it? I just happened to run across it. How big and how many tentacles does FTX have its hands in throughout the country? They got their tentacles in the sports arena. They got their tentacles in the politics. They got their tentacles in our finances. What else does FTX have their tentacles in, their hands in? That's the question for tonight. And let me show it to you one more time. For those of you that missed it, this is the FTX Arena, Miami Heat. I'm wondering, just out of curiosity, does Ron DeSantis, is he aware of this? And I would imagine, because Ron DeSantis being who he is, I'm pretty sure he would have some questions. We might want to change the name because the lawsuits, and is FTX Arena, is the lawsuit applying to them? I know that they actually said that there was, they're filing for bankruptcy, but dude has finally been arrested. And I don't know if they're going to actually expedite him to the U.S., but we shall see. Because, again, he said that he couldn't make it to the U.S. because he was too busy. Really? Too busy still having fun with the rest of the money that he has. That's crazy. See, he's not broke. But everybody that poured money into FTX, they're broke. And, again, I don't wish anything bad to happen to him, but him going from point A to point B, he may not make it. He may, suffer for some unknown cause because, the Democrats have a lot of ties with this dude, apparently, and they don't want people to know about it. Okay, let's go on to some more pressing news. We're still fighting for our free speech. Now, so much is coming out about these Twitter drops. And of course, the liberal, lame mainstream media, they refuse to talk about it. It's to the point that the liberal mainstream media they're saying that, oh, this is old news. We all knew this was happening. This is nothing new. This is nothing to talk about. They're actually trying to play it off. But you know what they do instead? The liberal media will try to find stuff for you to try to discredit Elon Musk. And Elon Musk didn't write all these documents. He's just releasing them. Listen to this retired FBI agent as he's talking about it. See, now, my question again is, where are all the good men and women that are still in the FBI? At what point do they stand up and step up and start arresting the people that is above them? See, now they're agents. They took an oath. When they see that the ones that are above them have broken the law, it's their duty to arrest them. Why is that not taking place? But listen to this retired FBI agent as he explains and he talks about the Republicans. They actually need to stand up and do something. And I'm kind of concerned about some of these rhino Republicans that's going to side with the Democrats and do nothing about the corruption. Listen to this.
Michael Schellenberg points out that 99% of Twitter employee donations this year went to Democrats. But I think the real question is, how did the FBI become so politically motivated? And do you think there's going to ever be an effort to reverse that?
Well, the FBI has always been political. All these agencies in Washington, D.C. are to an extent political because they have political appointees that run them. So whenever you see a different political party take control, you're going to see these different agencies shift in the way that they do things. Now, that being said, the long term or the long road or the long game that the Democrats have played, the socialists that have infiltrated and subverted this government, they have been playing the long game to the point where it's not one or two political appointees. It's an entire echelon of administrators throughout the government that are doing this.
Quick,
and in
former
local
President Trump.
Let me stop you real quick. He's talking about they're playing the long game, but he's absolutely right. The Democrats have been playing the long game in everything, in our law enforcement. That's why you have some of these woke cops. That's why you have woke DEAs. That's why you have woke school board members, because the Democrats have played this long game to put in place tyrannical, evil, demonic people. See, he's not calling him that. I'm calling him that because that's exactly what they've been doing. All this stuff that they've been doing has been 100% demonic. And they know that they're demonic, and they like being demonic. Listen to the rest.
Appointed Christopher Wray. Do you have any confidence in him that he might be able to get this under control?
Absolutely not. And this is one of, I think, Trump's mistakes that he made. His picker when it came to picking people in Washington, D.C., like Christopher Wray, was broken. And I think Christopher Wray is a failed leader, just like Comey before him, just like Mueller before him. And I want to say one other thing, that this will all come down to not what the Democrats did, but what the GOP is willing to do to stop it and go after them. If they don't act, then what does it matter? Nobody else. The agencies aren't going to stop it. We need our representatives to represent us in Washington, D.C.
You know what? That's so true. That is so true. And you know what? President Trump, he was listening to a lot of people when he went into the political office because it was a new territory for him. It was a new territory, and he did a lot for America. Don't get me wrong. He did a lot for America. But he was listening to the people that had been there. And he was thinking that these people were on his side. Kind of like Mike Pence, Barr, Sessions, he thought a lot of these people, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, he thought these people were on his side. He thought that these people were on the side of America, but they're not. They have not been for a very, very long time. Probably day one since they stepped through. But the point is, President Trump was depending on these people to bring in valid people that's going to do the right thing, and he didn't know. But see, this is another reason why they don't want President Trump to return, because now President Trump understands and he knows the playground. He understands the playground now. And that's one of the reasons why you have a lot of rhino Republicans, namely like Mitch McConnell, that wants to prevent President Trump from returning, because they know that Mitch McConnell is not going to be happy about it. Now, here's another one that I want to play for you. And, we always talk, at least I have. I'm pretty sure some other people have been talking about it, but at least I have for sure, talking about how the federal government has violated the U.S. Constitution. They violate the U.S. Constitution by using a proxy, big tech companies, to violate our rights. Do you feel violated? Do you feel violated? Liberals, they don't feel violated because they're complicit with the violation. How they want to violate, little ones, so they don't have any issues violating adults any kind of way. But they censored our voice. The federal government used big tech as a proxy to censor our voice, violating the First Amendment. But this retired FBI agent, he brings up another valid point, saying that they actually violated the Third Amendment as well. They violated the Third Amendment as well. Listen to what he says. This should be alarming. And you know what kind of ticks me off more than anything is that these tyrannical idiots on the left that say that they're all for inclusiveness, they're all for diversity, they're all for everyone living freely how they want to. But they're not when it comes to Christians, and they're not when it comes to free speech. They're not when it comes to the American dream. By Americans, for Americans. They're just the opposite. Listen to this.
Jonathan, I'm fascinated by something you told our producers. You believe big tech violated the Third Amendment, which is basically the provision that says military can't stay in your home. Explain that.
Right. Well, if you watch the series Turn, and that really opened my eyes when I saw these British soldiers quartering in homes. They basically oppressed the speech. If they didn't like what they were saying, then the people had to change their conversation. And throughout, especially after 2020 and all since Trump has been in office, these social media companies working with the federal government have censored and oppressed us in our own homes and told our neighbors and our family members if we're not doing what they said during COVID and the mandates, which was not law, that they were to turn us in. So when you look again at the totality of circumstances, what you see is that the government is in our homes. It doesn't matter if they're sleeping in another room. They're here and they're working with social media companies to oppress our speech. That to me is no different. They are quartering in our home without our consent.
That is so true. That is so true. And I didn't even look at it that way, right? I didn't even look at it that way, but that is so true because the government, they're actually interfering what's coming into our home. They're actually interfering on what's coming out of your home. So they found a way to violate the First Amendment and the Third Amendment via the big tech companies. And the big tech companies, they're complicit with it. And the big tech companies have gotten so bold that they have found other reasons to ban people. Now, I think there's like three major things that the federal government went to big tech to suppress, to block First Amendment rights when it comes to the American people. The first one is about what happened, in 2020, the thing that happened in 2020. The second one is the Kung flu. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I'm having to be careful with my words here, right? And then the third one, what's the third one? I know there's one there. Oh, the weather, the weather, right? Those three there, right? The federal government, and it's just my opinion. Let me put a disclaimer on here. It's just Will Johnson's opinion. I don't have it. There's nothing anywhere saying in the writing, but unless you're looking at the Twitter files that's coming out, right? So we have the 2020, then we have, and then we have the weather. That my personal opinion that the federal government came and told the tech companies to suppress that information. Now, when it comes to a man, and let me just put it this way. And I'm going to tell you, this is a prime example. When it comes to a man getting pregnant, becoming pregnant, the tech companies have taken it upon themselves to address that issue, right? I don't think per se that the federal government came to them and say, well, if someone comes along and says a man cannot get pregnant, then I don't think the federal government did that. I think the tech companies said, we'll just ban people and block people and censor people, shadow ban people from when they say that. Let me give you an example. There was this demonic Satanist dude on Twitter because I put a comment on the Joe Brannon's tweet. And this Satanist dude started attacking me. And of course, we got to talking about truth and we got to talking about factual things. And I made the comment saying, look, a physical born man, which is truth, cannot get pregnant. Like, I can't get pregnant. I would never know the enjoyment of having life grow in me. I'll never experience that unless it's like a tapeworm or something. But I'm talking about a human being, another child. I would never have that enjoyment. I think of it as enjoyment. I think it's a blessing that women get to do that. So, and I made a point, right, that, men will never do that. Well, this dude told me that I was being a bigot. And I'm like, how was that being a bigot? And for the life of me, and I was trying to ask this dude, and he got Satan's all over his thing, right? And it's like, really, he's at me, and I didn't attack him. He's attacking me because I said something that was truthful. And then he's talking about, I don't understand the science. Well, I mean, can you? And I asked him, I said, show me where the science where an actual man, born a man, can get pregnant. And all he did was get angry with me. And then eventually he just blocked me. because you can't, it's not physically possible, right? Men don't have ovaries. But he blocked me. My point is that on Twitter before, if you were to say, you know, a man cannot get pregnant, a born man with a penis cannot get pregnant. On Twitter, they used to shadow ban that, or they would suspend accounts for that. So what we have here, you have the big tech companies feeling emboldened, right, to go the extra mile, to go the extra step, because the federal government has given them permission to block stuff, to censor stuff. They have given them the permission. I said, well, the federal government told us to block XYZ. We can do the other ones too. And so that's exactly what's been happening. And that's exactly what we've been seeing here lately. But now that these Twitter files are coming out, and it's all starting to change. Now, I have another one I want to share with you. This one is about big tech companies like Apple and Google. You know, Apple and Google, they own the app market, right? They own the app market. Well, now there's discussion about taking that from them because that's a monopoly. Google with Android, iPhone, Apple, they have a monopoly on what apps can go on those devices. You know, there was a lawsuit years ago with Microsoft because Microsoft had it to where every single time they released the operating system, Internet Explorer was on the system. And there was a lawsuit because there was other people creating web browsers, because that's all it is a web browser. Other companies were creating web browsers, but it was not included with the operating system. So there was a huge lawsuit against Microsoft because Microsoft had the Internet Explorer in there automatically. In this case, as soon as you buy an Android or an iPhone, you get apps and you have to go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store to get apps. Listen to this as they talk about, because of all this information is coming out, the way their Apple's handling in China and all the and Google, the way they're suppressing and the way they're not allowing other manufacturers or other developers to even develop apps without having to go through them. Listen to this.
On the Open App Market Act, this is bipartisan. Senator Blumenthal and I have done this. It came out of Judiciary Committee on a 20-2 vote, which was very strong bipartisan support. This would remove Apple and Google as the gatekeeper on the App Store and allow people to work directly with innovators and developers on getting apps onto their phone. This is something innovators in Tennessee have told me repeatedly they wanted to see happen. It would also remove Apple and Google as the mandatory pay system. It would eliminate Apple and Google taking a third of the profits of these app developers. Of course, they're fighting it. This has been a big revenue stream for them. Just as Apple, you know, Maria, I think when you look at companies like Apple, they have considered themselves citizens of the world. So when they're in China, they kowtow to the Chinese Communist Party. You've seen this in the work they've done there in Xinjiang province with their chips and their devices. This is why they're looking for supply chains outside of China. You saw what they did with airdrop, the concerns there with the violations against human rights. And our Open App Market bill has received tremendous support from people that are in.
Now, don't you think it would be really good if other developers would not have to go through Apple in order for it to show up on your device, or the same thing with Google? So then when it comes down to stuff like applications like AirDrop, then that way you don't have to worry about Google or iPhone disconnecting that service from you so you can't communicate. That's what really a lot of this is coming into, right? That's what a lot of it is coming up to, because these tech companies have so much power, so much control over you and I. And people go, no, they don't have any control over me. They don't have any control over me. Just about everybody walks around with a mobile device, or right now, even your computer, no matter even how you're watching this, there's some kind of device that you're using, some kind of technology that you're using that one of these companies have some kind of control with. Even if it's not even Apple or Google, it may be your internet provider. It may be your cable provider, your dish provider, whatever it is. There's some kind of technology that these people have control over, and they can, with the switch, typing on a keyboard, they can prevent you from seeing something that they don't want you to see. Not that it's wrong, but they can just type it in and prevent you from seeing it because they deem that, hey, this is not safe. And they deem that it's not safe because it will expose them. That's part of the reason why they want to take down Twitter right now. And they're still calling for Apple to take down Twitter and Google. They want to take it down because Elon Musk is constantly exposing them. Now, let's get into something that really affects everybody, more so than one. You have this $600 tax, right? I'm calling it that. It's $600. So if you make a transaction over $600 and you get it on Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is, they're going to come after the small business in this country. They're going to nickel and dime everybody. You remember Joe Brandon said that anyone who's making less than $400,000 will not see a single penny increase in tax. That is a lie, total lie. Listen to this as they explain that the Biden regime actually lied. And we already knew this, right? You can't tell me that they're not going to, with them hiring 87,000 armed IRS agents, and they're not coming after the small man. So people who just cut grass, for a living, and they make $600, $599. Okay, $600 for the year now. It's for the year. It's not one time. So if you make $500 today and then 12 months or 11 months, and 11 months from now, right before the end of the year, you make another $100, you're flagged. $600 a year. Listen to this.
From the great state of Indiana, member of the House Budget Committee, Mike Braun, joins us now. Senator, this is really outrageous. We were told by Biden he wouldn't change the tax structure for anybody making under $100,000. This is going to affect people making far less than that. It's a pure extra tax on the middle class, isn't it?
Yeah, they said it wasn't going to hassle anybody at low income levels, that it was going to all come out of the hide of big companies. So the IRS agents, like they do every year, this is going to unleash on the lowest incomes, the people that are in the gig economy, that are running a sideline business, going to be hassled down to any $600 transaction. Now, they're supposed to be filing those, but do you think the main thrust of this big $80 billion investment with 87,000 agents is going to be turned on big companies?
No.
Or unleashed across the countryside on small income earners? Sad, David, it's another misguided attempt. They better backpedal. They better take that stuff out, or is there going to be an uproar across the country?
Well, how is an IRS rule change that's this significant not affected by congressional oversight? Don't you automatically have congressional oversight, or can they sneak these things in anytime they want?
Sadly, this is part of these 1,000-page bills. This one from the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, that none of us have enough time to look at it, to flesh them out, to get this kind of unintended consequence before.
And that's the biggest thing that disturbs me. It's a 1,000-page bill, and they don't have enough time to read this 1,000-page bill. And the Democrats and some Republicans do the same thing. They slide stuff in there because they know no one's going to read it. Or when they do read it, they'll change it up and reword it. But in this case, they actually slid it in there. So this $600, a lot of those on the left were saying wasn't true. They're actually saying it's true now. They're actually saying it's there. And they're going to come after us. This is how do you think they're going to fund this? They need to come after you and I, the small business, right, which is the backbone of America. And as a result of this, they're going to crush the small business in this country. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want people to have small businesses in this country. They want these corporations to have all the control and be able to run and operate everything. And people like me cannot operate. See, I'm a small business. You know, I survive based on your support. I come on here every day and you know, there's a couple people, like, for example, I can't see the stars, but I can see like the super chat. Dolly, she gave me a super chat. Thank you so much, Dolly. And Mickey, thank you so much for the super chat. And that's on YouTube. And when people give me the Rumble rants on Rumble, I can see that as well. But I'm supported and I'm able to come here because people support me. Now, because of the economy and everything, all that's been going down. You know, everything's been going down. And now that they're going to tax everybody, even like me, like you, all of us that even do side jobs, little small jobs here and there, they're coming after all of us so they can fund their globalist agenda. Hands down.
Passes. Now you have to deal with it, and they will have to change this, not through oversight, but by changing the law. That's what happens when you politically enterprise, like the other side of the aisle's been doing, and then call it something crazy like Inflation Reduction Act.
Unbelievable. It's outrageous. I hope you can change it. I also hope you can stop them from spending more money with a lame duck Congress. They've already spent $5 trillion. Apparently that isn't enough. I mean, there are all kinds of things they want to spend more on in just the couple of weeks leading up to the Republican House. Is there anything you can do to stop that?
There are at least 6 or 7 of us that are not accepting business as usual. And the first thing is, do not let Pelosi and Schumer do exactly what you've said, especially when the House changed political hands effective early January. You got many, even here on our side, wanting to give the keys back to Pelosi and let Schumer flesh out the spending for the next year. Wait, let Kevin McCarthy get a hold of it so we at least can have some input. That's crazy.
And, you know, I don't even really care for Kevin McCarthy. To be honest with you, I think Kevin McCarthy is a poor choice. Kevin McCarthy is the same thing, just, you know, the same thing, the same problem. Kevin McCarthy is the same thing, the same problem. And I don't know why they're all going with Kevin McCarthy. I really don't. I really don't. Even people that I thought would stand firm and stand strong, they have flipped and they're all standing behind Kevin McCarthy. And I'm not going to name any names here, but there's some people that I know that's in politics that have flipped. Okay, now let me show you something that you're not going to like. Not that you didn't like, not that you like that one, but you're really not going to like this one. So Kamala Harris decides to go to LA and swear in the new mayor, not the governor, not a senator, not a House member, but a mayor of LA. So she took a trip. She still won't take a trip to the southern border, which this is just ridiculous what happened this weekend. But she flies to LA to swear in the mayor.
Repeat after me. I, Karen Ruth Bass. I, Karen Ruth Bass. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Now, we know that's not true. Kamala Harris doesn't even support the U.S. Constitution of the United States. She doesn't do it. And you know what? This is just them going through the motions. It's like a ceremony. It's just what we do, but we don't actually believe in it.
Constitution of the State of California. The Constitution of the State of California. And the Charter of the City of Los Angeles. And the Charter of the City of Los Angeles. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. And I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of the office of mayor. Of the office of mayor. According to my best ability. According to my best ability. Madam Mayor.
Now, I don't understand why Kamala Harris had to make this trip. Maybe because she's from California, and I've never known for a VP, acting VP, to go to any state and swear in the mayor. Maybe this is something that they commonly do. Maybe you can leave me a comment, let me know. But listen to this. This is right when after she did it, and this is Do y'all see the broom in the screen?
According to my best ability.
Madam Mayor.
It's always that cackle. It's always that cackle. What is that? Is it just really annoying to us because we know how demonic she is and she got that demonic cackle about her? Is that what it is?
Mayor.
I mean, what's so funny? What's so funny? Is it because, I mean, tell me, is it just because we can't stand her? I mean, maybe you can. I can't stand a woman. She's demonic like the rest of them. I can't stand her. There's nothing about her that I like at all. Nothing at all. All right. So we are at this point here, and some of y'all know it. Some of y'all don't know it. If y'all want to hear what I'm going to talk about next, you're going to have to go over to my Rumble channel. You know, with all the censorship that's taking place still on these other big tech companies, you know, I got to do what I got to do. There's things that I want to talk about that I can't talk about on these other tech companies because they can't handle the truth. They don't want you to talk about the truth. Why that is, we know why that is. I don't have to go into detail why that is. But for those of you that want to join me over on Rumble from Facebook and from YouTube, please come over and join me. You know, I mean, I'm not twisting your arm, but if you want to hear something else, and let me share something else with you, please join the good people over on Rumble. All right, you can see it right there on the screen. If you want to come join me, just go to, I think you can just go to Rumble and just type in Will Johnson, just search for Will Johnson, and you should find me right there, and it should be live. Or if not, you can type that into your browser, rumble.com/C, you know, for channel /Will Johnson. You can do that, and you can join me over on Rumble, and you will see the rest of the information that I have to share with you. All right, I'll see you over there in a minute.